Today, we will be showing kids and teens how to become tech entrepreneurs. We all know of tech entrepreneurs, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and others. But today, we will listen to Mr. Charles Brown, an entrepreneur who started 4 businesses in California. We also have Miss Leilani Macido, who is the co-founder of the company Click. What does Click do? How does Click make money? How did they get their idea off the ground? Stay tuned to find out how you too can become an entrepreneur. Now, on to you, Celia.
Hi, I'm Celia Hurst, Beya STEM Career Day Student Ambassador. I'd like to introduce Vice Admiral Walter Davis, U.S. Navy retired. He is the chairman of Beya Stars and Stripes, co-founder of EvoNexus, and the California Incubator with offices in Silicon Valley, Orange County, and San Diego, California. He is responsible for many startups such as Portfolio, Clicks, and many others. Please mute your mics and get ready to learn. Over to you, Vice Admiral Davis.
Good morning, and thank you, ladies and Lydia, for that terrific start for our event today. And I think pretty soon you guys are going to have the whole thing. But we've got a really interesting one for you today, and she gave you a really good summary, I think, of that. And so I'm not going to upstage that at all. I think you'll look at life a little differently all the time now. Every time I look around a corner and somebody tells me about a big problem, I listen a little carefully, because who knows what might be behind a solution to that problem. So Matt's going to introduce our leader today, and I'm going to let him turn it on. I'll let him even tell who that is. Matt, over to you.
Thank you, Admiral Davis, and thank you, parents, boys and girls. We are super excited to be presenting to you today Click and other technology entrepreneurs. It is my pleasure to introduce Lieutenant General Bruce Crawford. Lieutenant General Crawford is a very prominent Army officer, a prominent businessman, and just a great, tremendous leader. He is one of my personal mentors, and I think that you'll find he'll be one of your mentors too. He currently is a Senior Vice President of Jacob Technologies for federal programs, and he has a wealth of experience, and he has a passion for STEM and for students. So Lieutenant General Crawford, as our Beya Stars and Stripes Career Day Chairman, I want to turn it over to you, sir.
Matt, thank you. Thank you very much. I've been introduced a few times. I'm not sure I've had ever quite had an introduction like that. So if my mom were here, she'd definitely be proud, and probably wondering a little bit about who you're talking about. But listen, thanks to everyone for being here today. Before I move on and just make a couple of points, because you really came here to hear from our entrepreneurs. You really came here to hear from those who are going to be speaking today. I didn't want to let this moment pass by saying just an early happy Mother's Day to our moms who are out there. So there's a couple of reasons for that. One, mama didn't raise no fool here. And so I want to make sure that I do that, because my mom actually could be listening in. You just never know. And so I wanted to give a shout out to our moms. But there's another point, a couple of points. And one actually has to do with why we're here today. And it's all about mentorship. You see, for most of us, the very first mentor, if you think about it, and you understand the depth and scope of the term mentorship, the very first mentor, real mentor that we had in our lives, in many cases, was our mom. And I'm no different. And so that's one of the reasons. The other reason is when you think about the pandemic and just think about how far we've come in the last 12 months or so, and the challenges that we've overcome and how we have adapted. I truly believe in my heart of hearts that it is the mothers out there who are in a lot of cases, and maybe one day someone will take a step back and write about this, are the real unsung heroes for the work that they have done to keep us all grounded, to keep us all focused, and to make sure that we were strong enough to persevere through the last 12 months to get to where we are right now. And so I just, again, in my introductory remarks, I just wanted to make sure that I took the opportunity to celebrate the importance of our moms out there for the work that they have done to get us to where we are. And more importantly, for the stage that they have set to get us to where we want to be. And so till today, just a couple of thoughts here, and I'll get off stage because I look forward to the conversations. So what's today really about? I think it's about, ultimately, it's about exposing you to information that prepares you for not only college careers, but prepares you to really become everything that you are as the next greatest generation of leaders for this great nation. And so more importantly, I think it's an opportunity for you to understand the art of the possible. And so many of us had benefited from Beya. I said a long time ago, if Beya didn't exist, we'd probably have to create it. All right, to make sure that there were events and opportunities like this. And so I only have one ask today, other than celebrating our moms, and it's for our young people out there. When you get into the rooms, ask questions, all right, of those mentors. And one of the questions I want you to ask them, you don't have to write this down, but think about it. Ask them, tell me one time you faced adversity and tell me what it is that you did to overcome that adversity, because that's what leads to resilience. And so again, thank you all very much for being here today. I know you have many options and everybody's busy, but you chose to be right here with us today, right now, investing in people and investing in our next greatest generation of leaders. So thank you all very much. I'm honored to be on this team and honored to be the committee lead. At this time, I'd like to throw it back over to Mr. Charles Brown, who will, I'm sure, inspire us with a great story that leads to growth for everyone. So thank you all very much.
Well, thank you very, very much. We're really honored to be here and to be able to present to everyone, to the point of having someone to be a mentor. We've developed this business and we put it into an incubator, a technology incubator, Evo Nexus, which Admiral Davis co-founded. And we're fortunate enough to be able to meet him and to gain insights from him over time, to the point where he's become a mentor of Click's and of mine personally and of Leilani's. And we really have been able to benefit from his experience and his clarity of thought, his kind and generous nature in supporting us. And so I just want to say again, we're absolutely honored to be here and to be able to share our story, what we're doing from a business development perspective, how it came about, and to try to extract from that lessons we've learned so far. So I'll introduce or let Leilani introduce herself, and then we'll jump in.
Hi, everybody. I'm Leilani Macido. I am the founder and president of Click's, and I do have 30 years of experience in the professional salon industry. And I came up with this problem-solving idea because it was such a difficult thing that I encountered that I looked for solutions and there were none. So I decided to create a team and do the solution myself. So we're going to share that with you.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to do a screen share. And everybody, let me know if you can see this okay. There's my screen. And if you're reading that, it says every problem is an opportunity for a problem solver. And I truly believe this. And to the point of having a mother who mentored me, this was one of the things that she taught me. Quite literally, she said to me, every time you encounter a problem, that problem is actually an opportunity, but only if you look at it as such. And I've carried that with me my entire life. And this opportunity has given me a chance to think about it and to think about how my mind evolved to be a problem solver, or what we're also going to call solutions oriented. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the mindset that Leilani and I both have as entrepreneurs and how we applied that to this business. So we're going to have quite a bit of fun. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the point that you can train your brain to be solutions oriented. And solutions oriented is a problem solver. Solutions oriented means that you think in a particular way, that you, one, identify problems, and then two, think of solutions. But it doesn't come naturally. You have to kind of build that capability, which is why we say train your brain. So we're going to step through a series of slides where Leilani will demonstrate what she's done in the business world, and we're going to tie that to how she trained her brain to be solutions oriented. So we're going to start with the basic how-to, and the first is that you look for the problems. You know, problems are everywhere, and you don't really realize it until you start to focus your thoughts on identifying them. So the first step is look around, see what problems exist. Okay, then think of ways to solve them. It's pretty straightforward. So what we're going to do now is we're going to infuse the slides about the business with slides about how we go about it. So Leilani is now going to tell us what happened to her career, what motivated her to develop Clicks.
Like I said, I was in, the salon industry for 30 years. I bought a salon, and I was very excited. I loved it. I was really ready to be a business owner. What I found out was that there were a huge problem in the back room, immense waste. There was a lot of formulation mistakes, inventory mistakes. It was definitely, it was a big problem. It was impacting my bottom line as well. So when I looked around to the industry, I tried to find a problem or a solution. There was none, so I decided to create it myself. And as you can see, there is antiquated tools, limited color choice, and all of that folds into the waste and impacting the bottom line. So I decided to create the team and solve the problem.
And go solve it.
Yeah.
And so how we met was I literally went into a barbershop, needed a haircut, and sat down in her chair. And get this, she was so smart and so thoughtful that she had worked in the salon industry all her career. But she knew that most of the chief executive officers with experience were men. And so she went back to school, got her barber's license, and then found a job in a barber shop, believing that there was a higher likelihood that she would meet someone who she could team up with to build this business. And lo and behold, I walked in, sat down in her chair. She started asking me questions. What do you do? Where are you from? And she learned that I was a technology entrepreneur and that I developed several businesses. And so she kindly said, I have an idea in the salon industry, may I share it with you? And she tells me this story that we'll both never forget. I looked over my shoulder at her and I said, tell me what you got. And when I said that, it was just like I turned on a light switch, and she just became highly animated. And all the while she's cutting my hair, she's describing the business problems you see there. And it turns out I had solved these business problems, or a subset of them, in another industry and done very, very well for our customers, for our shareholders. And so she really piqued my interest quickly. And I knew sitting in the chair that she had $1 billion idea. So I went away, did some market research, came back, asked her to coffee, and we ended up building what is going to be just an amazingly successful business. And so let's look at what she did there, right? She saw a set of problems, she experienced those problems, and then she started to think about them, see them, and then ideate around them, right? So what does that mean? So what we're going to do here is we're going to train our brain, right, to see and solve problems. And we're going to have a little bit of fun with this. So first, see solutions around you and imagine the problem. So in order to train yourself to be a problem solver, you have to first see problems. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see problems until you've kind of developed a capability, but there's a neat little trick you can do. So I used an example of a salt shaker. Now imagine that salt shakers didn't exist. And what you had to do to enjoy salt was you had to carry it around in your hand all the time. That's kind of interesting, right? So you can look around wherever you are right now. If you're in the kitchen, you can look at a tool, which is a salt shaker or a pepper shaker or any one of the many tools that are around you. So stop and think, before they invented that tool, what did the problem look like? And so you could literally, with your mind, look at a tool, look at a solution, track backwards from that and go, yeah, that was the problem they were solving. And when you look backwards, that trains you to look forward to see problems. Okay, so it's a really neat little trick that you can do. And I'll tell you what, if my mom came home and I had salt all over the kitchen table like that, I think I'd be in trouble. So I'm pretty sure salt shakers were invented by young kids. Okay, so how do you solve a problem? You do something we call ideate. Ideate, it's a beautiful, beautiful word. What it means is you just think of alternative ways that you could solve the problem, right? You could make it better. And that's fun. That's just creative mind thinking, right? Use terms like what if. What if we could, and then describe the solution and how elegant it might be to overcome the problem, right? What if we could do this? What if it could do this? What if we could build something that would solve this? Once you know what you want to build, how you want to solve it, then you step into the how do I solve it, okay? So pretty straightforward. Look at problems that have been solved, right? Look for new problems, then ideate around them, say, what if we could solution, and then how do we solve that problem, right? So remember, every problem is an opportunity waiting to be solved. All right, so how did Leilani solve it? How did she ideate? Let's hear from her what idea she came up with.
So I was using a mixable hair color line at the time, so I knew that was possible. Well, it was actually real. I knew the internet was widely used and canisters were in the market as well. So what I wanted to do was take all of those proven systems, put them together and create a business. And so that is exactly what I did. Mixable hair color that goes into a device with an app that you can mix millions of colors right on your phone. And what that does is it helps improve salon economies, which is exactly what I needed to do for my business.
So a brilliant approach, right? So she looked at not one problem, and this is really interesting, everybody. She looked at not one problem, but she looked at 6 problems and decided to solve all of them together. Now that's really, not everybody is
Bold.
brave enough and bold enough to go after and solve a set of problems that's significant. And in fact, what you're going to learn in terms of how we solve the problem is that it took us 5 years to solve all of these problems. So we had to be tenacious, we had to be dedicated, we had to fight through a lot of challenges in order to do it, but we were driven, we had purpose, we know why we wanted to do it. We knew that we could really improve the lives of stylists and salon owners if this problem could be solved. And there are a lot of them out there, and they're working very, very hard every day, and we could improve their profits and their quality of life. So now let's go to the how-to. So she came up with the what if it could do all of these wonderful things, right? What if we had a computer-controlled robotic dispenser that you could put mixable color in, that you could then use an application to design any color you want, and the hair color would just show up automatically from an inventory tracking system. And you don't even have to pay for the color until it comes out of the machine, because Clicks ties the dispensing activity in the machine to the internet, like she said, and we can just debit a bank account as the color is dispensed. That was a huge one because salons today have to buy all their color in advance, and then they don't get paid until the client comes in and color gets applied, and then they walk out the door. We've solved it so that the client comes in, they dispense the color, it gets applied to the hair, and that night, in the middle of the night, the electrons do their thing in our application and our platform and go debit the account for the salon, and we get paid. And so the salon goes cash flow positive. And that's a wonderful thing if you're a business owner, to be able to stretch your cash and make it go farther. Okay, so that was the idea. Then how do you do that? How do you make that happen? How do you build a computer-controlled robotic dispenser? How do you build a mixable color line? How do you figure out how to put those colors in the machine, right? So what we did is we literally invented a line of hair color, which was very challenging. That's chemistry, about 25 ingredients that have to be mixed together. They have to go through steps, kind of like baking a cake, hot, cold when you produce the color. It has to be able to exist for 2 years, in a can. So it has to be highly stable. And so that was a big, big project all by itself. But we also needed to innovate in the packaging of hair color so we could put it in those canisters and put those in the dispenser. So another, big project. The computer dispenser itself was a big project. Turns out Leilani's brother is a mechanical engineer. So she went to him early on and said, I have an idea. Can you help me figure out how to solve this, right? The how-to. And he ended up helping her build the actual dispenser itself, and then a mobile application to control it all. Optical sensors, even to detect the color of a person's hair before and after the hair color is applied, to make it really accurate using science. Get this, neural network artificial intelligence to be able to predict what the color will be when you mix these different chemicals from our hair color line. Whoops, there it goes. That's incredible. And all of it tied together in a platform, right? Software that talks to the dispensers, the mobile application used by the user tells the dispenser what to dispense. So all completely integrated. Now, in order to do all that, and you can tell this is a very aggressive development cycle, we had to use math, chemistry, science, and technology. We could not have done it without it, but the fact that we have those skill sets and we're able to attract other people that have those skill sets because of her brilliant idea is really what allowed us to create the solution, and is what is going to allow us revolutionize the professional salon hair color space. Okay, so what went on here? What happened? Okay, she looked at this, she saw a problem, she ideated, created a solution, and then she started to attract a team. So we're going to talk about team next, but I want to talk just a second about science and math. And this is super important. I'm going to say something that is going to surprise you, I think. So math and science gives you a treasure chest of knowledge, right? So what you're going to do now is you're going to fill up your cup with knowledge and awareness, and you're going to be able to apply that for the rest of your life. Math is the key, right? Math is the key to understanding all science. And a lot of times when people hear the word math, they start to get, a little concerned, a little shy. It looks a little challenging, but I have some really good news for you. It turns out that you already have the tools to solve every math problem that exists. Now, what did I just say? Wait, what? What I just said is you already have the tools to solve every math problem that exists. It turns out math is not that hard. It sounds like it's hard, and you see these funny symbols, you don't know yet what they do, but let me tell you how this works, and you're going to be hopefully surprised. Every math problem is solved with 2 simple operations, only 2, addition and subtraction. It's really amazing that you can realize and look and know that with addition and subtraction, you can solve any math problems. And I'm pretty sure everyone on this call knows how to add and subtract. All right, so let's dig just a little bit deeper. Multiplication is just repeated additions, and division is just repeated subtractions, right? I think everybody knows that because you've done enough multiplication and division. The rest are just sequences of additions and subtractions, and what is being added or subtracted from what, right? What you're adding to, what you're subtracting from. And the order in which you do that, the sequence, right, of additions or subtractions, sometimes called the order of operations, are presented by the symbols. They're represented by the division symbol or the multiplication symbol or brackets that say do this before you do that. All those symbols is just the order that you're going to add and subtract. So don't be afraid of math. You already know how to do it. All you have to do is learn what those symbols mean and what the order of operations are. And that's really powerful once you understand that you can solve any math problem with addition, subtraction, and just following the right procedures. Very, very powerful. Okay, so don't be intimidated by math. It's really simple. All right, so now let's think about solving big problems. So what Leilani did, she didn't solve one problem, she solved 6 problems, and they were pretty big problems. So what she did is she started to solve them with friends. She did what we call groupthink, which is really fun, is where you pull other people together and you go, what if we could do this? How could we do this? And you problem solve together. So that's really, really powerful. It's important to build those communication skills with other people, and you'll solve a lot more problems a lot faster. So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you a quick video. And this video is from a New York marketing agency, and it represents the culmination of 5 years worth of work integrating all that technology into a really crisp message that people can listen to and understand. So I'm going to play this. Hopefully it'll come across nicely. Actually, in fact, I think I have to share this with a video screen share. Let me step out for a second, folks, just to make sure that I set up this share properly, because I think it requires me clicking a particular button to make this go well. All right, so I'm going to say share screen again. I'm going to go here. Oh yes, share sound and optimize for video. All right, here we go, everybody. And let's go here. And oops, come to do display. Where's my little mouse go? Here we go. All right, here we go. Wow, is that cool or what? Really crisp, nice, clean, communicates what we do. And it's important as you build things to be able to communicate them to others. And we were really lucky to attract a New York agency of their caliber, and they really did a phenomenal job for us. Okay, so what's next? So the next thing is, as Leilani said, she knew she couldn't do it all by herself. So she had to build a team. So Leilani, tell us how you did that.
Well, like my brother, it was my big brother that I went to, and he couldn't say no to me, right? So, I took him, a can and said, hey, can you help me build a system around this? And he said, yes, absolutely, I could help you do that. A mechanical engineer from Cal Poly. And so he immediately put the can upside down and said we could build something that would dispense, put pressure on the bottom of this can and dispense into a bowl. And I said, yep, that's great, let's do that. So I did recruit 2 other engineers, as you can see here, Stu and Chris. And so I had my prototype, a provisional patent, and a dream. And I moved down to San Diego and to be able to recruit a visionary CEO. And like Charles said, I met him cutting his hair, and here we are 5 years later.
So really smart, right? So she knew she needed to find people with specific skills in science, technology, and mathematics, right? So what did she do? She went out and she shared her idea, ideated, and they began to believe in her vision and what she wanted to solve. So communications and bringing people forward with you is a key part of solving particularly big problems.
Are you sure that that's still shared?
Yeah, it's still sharing. It was just optimized for video. Everybody can hear me okay? Are we good? I think we're okay, good. All right, so let's continue then. So, so important when you do this to have a purpose. She had a really clear purpose in mind. She knew that salon owners were suffering from waste that was impacting their profitability. They were having to stay there every night for hours to do inventory. She had a real purpose for solving her problems, right? Now, realize here that every solution started with an idea. So everything you look at, that salt shaker, everything that has been invented started with an idea, and everyone on this call has the ability to create those ideas, right? They come from observations and then thoughts. And here's my best advice to you, and that is to give yourself two gifts. The first gift is be observant. When you are out and about, be present, be mindful, focus, look for problems, right? Look for problems, be observant, evaluate what's going on. And the next thing is super important. Give yourself personal time to think about what you've observed, right? Give yourself that quiet time where you just go sit, maybe even close your eyes, think about the problems you observed in the day, and then how you might solve them, right? So give yourself time to think, to ideate, to be clear-minded, to be quiet and contemplate what you've seen and what the implications are for what it is you've seen. Keep training your brain. And if you keep training your brain, look for solutions that were problems, look for problems that you can create solutions for, you'll actually get to the point where you can see multiple ways to solve the problems that you encounter on a daily basis. And that's really cool when your mind becomes so strong, to use that wonderful little image up here, that you can solve problems lots of different ways. So testing those one by one, which is what science is all about, test, measure, and adjust. You can test anything, you can measure it, and then you can make adjustments once you measure. So test, measure, and adjust, okay? And then, right, remember that your time and energy is valuable. Always give consideration to what it is you want to solve, and what's the benefit of it, what's the purpose for that solution. So now Leilani's going to tell you why she solved her problem.
I had to solve the problem because it really, in the salon industry, there was no solution for it. So I really wanted to solve it because ecologically it was disappointing. A lot of outer packaging, a lot of waste going down the drain. And really it was a big business problem for me. So when I decided to solve it, as you can see, for salon owners, we're going to waste eliminate, no inventory up front. Purchase after dispense and PIN-based accounting is key to be able to manage the back room. And then for stylists, we're going to increase their color choice, precision color, repeatability that doesn't currently exist in the salon industry. So with all of that tied together, it's just a really, really good business opportunity and solves a huge problem.
And so this slide is what you do when you build a business, which is what are the features and benefits you're going to deliver to your customer. So what Leilani knew with her idea, the ideation part, was that she could bring all of these benefits to salons, and that they would really have better quality lives, literally, because they weren't, dumping hair color waste into our water system. They weren't having to stay late and do inventory every night of all those tubes they used to have to buy. They, their cash was no longer going to be tied up. Really, really powerful solutions for salon owners. And stylists, view themselves as creatives. They want to help people feel better about themselves. And so she knew that if she could give stylists a tool that would let them unlock the color space and give their customers any custom color they want, that the customer would be happier, the stylist would be happier, and everyone would benefit. So very powerful motivation. And again, she had a deeper objective to eliminate waste, which is pretty significant in the salon industry. So a really powerful, directive view, really knew what she wanted to solve, why she wanted to solve it. And when we met, in fact, she said, look, this industry is very, very wasteful. And what I'd like your help with is to create a business model that can eliminate some of this waste. And so we figured out how to replace these tubes that go into landfills with aluminum canisters that can be recycled. That's huge, because there's a lot of tubes going into landfills. Then we figured out how to ship the products directly to the salon and eliminate movement of the products from a manufacturer to a distributor to a retail location and then to the salon, all of which had carbon transportation footprint in them, additional packaging, repackaging, and handling. So brilliant approach to eliminate a bunch of steps and a bunch of outer packaging, if you will, that is just waste and gets thrown away. And then finally, and here's the big one for us, with our technology, we figured out how to eliminate what we expect will be 5 million pounds of hair color out of water systems over the next 5 years. And hair color has ammonia in it, and that's not a good chemical. And so we're actually going to be able to really help the environment in addition to helping salon owners and stylists. So very powerful motivation, very directed in what she wanted to do and solve. Okay, so remember that you're going to go out and you're going to become a problem solver. You're going to become solutions oriented. But as you look at those problems, seek out advice from your trusted mentors, from people with experience who can provide feedback on your ideas. Very, very important not to try to do everything yourself, to pull people who you trust and who mentor you forward and to help you think through if you even should try to solve these problems, right? But if you do, then how you can go about it. And it always needs help. And so very important to build a team. So remember, building big solutions especially takes teamwork. So learn how to problem solve with others, to do that group think, to ideate, always be respectful of your peers. Everyone has something to offer. Okay, so the next thing she did is she had her core team. She built a simple prototype technology. Once that was working, then she knew she had to expand. To my point, she had to bring more people forward. So now she's going to talk about the next step of her journey once she got to a critical milestone.
There's my team. There was a big whiteout spot over Charles, but I think you can all see Charles now, right? I knew I needed a chemist, which is Rolf Zissel, and other people that we added to the team. Jeff Leutner, he's been amazing as well. So you have to be able to attract people to your idea and make sure that you share it, because if you don't share it, you're never going to get it built. So I'm blessed to have an amazing team around me, and I'm very thankful for these people. They're smart, they're inventive, and they push me further and help my dream come to life. It's been incredible.
Yeah, it really is a joy to build. And I think what you'll find as you go through school, you learn science, you learn technology, you build that knowledge that you'll be able to apply, is that when you go out and you start to problem solve with people, it's really, really fun. It's gratifying. It's a wonderful way to create value for yourself and for other people. And so we highly recommend it. We're entrepreneurs and always will be. We're life learners. And so that's really, really important. And everyone on our team are life learners. Okay, we also went out and we attracted industry experts. So the idea as it progressed became strong enough, solid enough, proved that we could do it. And then we pulled even more people forward. Very important to share, to get that growth of energy and more people around your ideas. And so we're blessed to have some really, really high level people in the industry saying, wow, this is amazing. It's going to revolutionize the hair color space. And so those additional mentors and supporters, very, very critical in building a business. And so now we're going to go ahead and close. So this is the last slide. And what I want to say is, remember, every problem is a solution waiting to be solved. And there's at least one solution for every problem that's unsolved that you'll run into. And remember, importantly, that for many of the solved problems, there are still opportunities to invent better solutions for them. So, and with that, we'll say thank you very, very much, and we'll open it up for questions.
Wow, while we're waiting on questions, wow, that was powerful and definitely inspiring. And I know I'm pretty sure that there are some that are already teed up. But a couple things that I heard. Number one, you didn't say this, but I heard, don't be afraid to bet on you. All right. Don't be afraid to believe in yourself as you did. I also heard about building teams. There's some great lessons in there about not only being on a team, but building a team as you had to do. And then last but not least, I heard you talk about the importance of being able to communicate, as we all have got to make sure that we perfect that engagement opportunity and that ability to communicate. So I'll throw it back over and just open it up for questions, but I just couldn't allow us to pass without just saying, listen, I was literally taking down notes here of the messages and themes, and great presentation. And I'll throw it back over for questions.
Thank you, sir.
I have a question. When will we? My name is Margaret Bowman. When will we see this hit the market?
Hi, Margaret. Really, really nice to meet you. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to present. I'll let Leilani answer that question since this is her brainchild. It's a pretty exciting answer.
In 2 days. No, just kidding. We are just getting ready to go to market in June. So we're presenting this literally everybody right before we're building, the marketing message, the big launch. We have some very influential people behind us that are going to help us deliver the message. So you should definitely start seeing it in salons in June. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, great question. And by the way, launches are really exciting times. And so we're really having a lot of fun. We've got a big influencer who this is secret, so you can't tell anybody yet, who was on The Bachelorette. She was a bachelorette on TV, and she's going to go on national television and announce that she's found Clicks, that she loves what we do, and she wants to help promote our brand and our solution. So launch is going to be really fun. Thank you for the question.
That's cool.
Love your hair, by the way. It's really cute.
Okay, if there are no other questions from the youngsters, I have a couple of questions. Who will own the device that goes to the salon and does all of this? Does the salon owner have to buy that from you, or is that something that you own and they somehow rent or whatever, however that works?
A great question, Velma. Really nice to meet you, and thank you for the question. When we started building the business, we ideated around the business model itself and all the potential ways that we could price it, what service terms we would structure for it, and before we made those decisions, what we did is we looked at what all the other companies currently did. They all sold product in advance. And we looked at what we could do that they couldn't do, and chose to create a business model that it would be very difficult for our competitors to respond to. So what we did is we said, okay, we're gonna keep the machines on our books. We're gonna maintain ownership of those. We're going to lend them to you on a lease basis, and we'll charge you $8.25 a day for the machine lease fee. But if you buy at least $500 a month in color, we'll waive the machine lease fee. And that way, we know we have a capital expense, we're going to have to, pay for that machine. And, we'll do that. That lease fee covers that expense so that we don't lose money. But this is kind of what we call a razor blade business, where the razor blades are the hair color, because salons buy a lot of it day in and day out. You know, the razor we want to try to give away because there's lots of profit in the color itself. And so we keep the machines on our books. We have a lease fee. We get it out of the way if they buy a minimum level of color, and that makes them happy.
Okay, and my second question is, I recently had my hair custom colored.
Nice.
And just as you've indicated, Leilani, you know, my stylist went and picked out several tubes of things, and he's got them all stacked on the wall and that sort of stuff. And you never, and I'm never sure that it's going to be exact, the same color that I originally thought that I really liked. But I'm leading to, there are a lot of folks who simply go to the drugstore and buy off the shelf color. Any thought about how you might take this really magical way of bringing more customized color to that kind of a customer?
What?
Handing it off to Charles. Do you have that? Do you have that device? You don't have that.
Which device?
The packaging that Ralph gave us.
Oh, I do actually. It's right here.
So this could be that solution. As a matter of fact, we have thought about it. We have thought about being able to do it right from the salon, where your stylist could custom blend it for you. You could take it home and touch up your roots, or actually have your formula right here at your fingertips.
And so a little bit of additional detail. So one of the things that we call, let's say you walk into a Target or a Walmart, they have what they call box color, right? And there's maybe 15 tones, not a lot of color choice, a handful. What you'll notice is that the color, so there's a catalyst and then there's the color. The color is always liquid. So this was liquid hair color. The big invention, and the last big invention in the professional salon space was 40 years ago. And that's when they went away from liquid color to cream color, right? And they put it in those tubes. And cream color is neat because you can do highlights, you can put it in special areas, and you can really sculpt a look. But liquid color, you can't do that with, right? It goes really pretty much all over. And what we've also seen is that the liquid color, the box color in the stores, is really difficult to get out. It's really tough on your hair. And so when a customer comes in who's put box color on their head into a salon, stylists kind of cringe a little bit and go, oh, I'm going to have to fix a problem, right? Because it's not as high a quality of product and so forth. And so the challenge is, you go into a salon, you get your hair done. You're exactly right. They don't do it the same every time. And here's the interesting, part of the problem that Leilani solved. When you have all those tubes up on these walls in the back, they're trying to buy like 400 to 600 tubes a week. And so they're really going through a lot of inventory. Sometimes the stuff doesn't show up in time. And now here's one kind of an interesting thing. So stylists know this. When they've got a bunch of clients coming in, what they'll do is they'll go, I need to make sure that I have a couple of tubes for this client. And so they put it away in a drawer so it's safe for them. And then another one does it. And then they got another client. Next thing you know, another stylist comes in looking, and the color's not there, right? The particular type they're looking for. So what they have to do is they have to go find other colors and try to mix them together. And it never comes out right, because those colors are all what they call pre-mixed, right? So when you start mixing pre-mixed colors with other pre-mixed colors, it quickly turns to mud. So what Leilani did with her idea was to have 23 unique colors that you could mix in any combination to create millions, instead of having to have all those individual premixed colors. But for the client, you're still spending a fair amount of money to come in and get your hair done. So this device, what she was saying is, and this is really cool, I'm going to kind of take it apart here. This is a neat invention ideation, right? So I'm going to take the cap off. So that's one piece. Notice it's got this little plunger in here. I'm going to put down for a second. Okay, now I'm going to take this, and it turns out it comes apart into two chambers. And if you look here, there's a little cap that protects this chamber. So watch this. This is a neat invention, everybody. This is a great example of how you can ideate. So I'm going to put this back together. I'm going to put this lid on. And now this one has already been used, but normally there's a little band right in here where you see that gap, right? And so you pull that band out and then watch this. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to start to squeeze it tight. And as I squeeze it, you'll hear a pop. Here it comes. Hear that? Now that is the cap that was on the underside of that chamber, keeping the catalyst and the hair color separate until I take it home, I crack it open, and now I can put it on my roots. And so I can go to the salon, I can get professional salon hair color, but I don't have to go back in 2 or 3 weeks. I can use this, do root touch-ups, and I can save some money and not go back into the salon for the big treatment for another, let's say 6 or 8 weeks. So kind of a neat invention and another problem we're solving. Yes, thank you very much.
That's terrific. Quick question, Matt, if I may.
Yes.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
Dr. Denise Farrar-Samani. Pleasure to meet you. Great invention. Thank you so much for presenting this morning.
You're so
I am an analyst and a technologist, and if you could share with us how the AI actually is a part of your new process.
Oh, thank you for that question. This is one of the really exciting parts for me. And so one of the things that I have the benefit of being what I call myself a smart dumb guy. There's things that I know that I don't know, and hair color was one of them.
But he
right?
sounded really good just now, didn't he? Sounded like, yeah, I did a good job training him, coaching him up.
she did, right? And so the more I learn, the more I realize that it takes a stylist almost a decade to become a good colorist. It turns out that hair color is incredibly complicated and for me exciting because I like things that are interesting. So when you take the hair color and the hydrogen peroxide, which is the catalyst, you mix them together, they have what they call an efficacy curve that works for about an hour, okay? And that's a catalytic event. Well, what is it doing on the hair? It turns out that what it does is it takes the cuticles around the hair and it pulls them open. And then the chemicals reach in and pull out the natural melanin. And then they replace that natural melanin with dye pigments, right? Dyes that go in. And then you apply an additional treatment and it seals those cuticles back up. And then, of course, photons, light, reflect on the hair and people see it as color. So it's a fascinating, fascinating technology, right? Well, here's what's really interesting. When you've got that catalytic process taking place and you've got those various dyes in there that you've mixed to make a particular color, it is mathematically what they call non-linear. Okay, what does that mean? That's a mathematical term that means it's very difficult to predict what the color will be based on any given mix. Well, why is that? I kind of like to think of it as musical chairs. You've got all these different dyes that are running around looking for a place to sit. These chemicals have to bond to one another, in other words, right? So the bonding process is you're going to get to sit in a chair or not. And all of the chemicals, the dyes that don't get to bond are left out of the color. And so you can't predict that, except that our brains are so powerful. If a stylist does enough colors, literally over a decade, they will get to see these subtleties of how these mix, and they'll get to learn over time. It's just almost like tribal knowledge. You can't describe it, but you can just kind of see it. So we thought, oh, what if we took a neural network and we evaluated each of our tones optically. So we optically characterize what they look like mathematically, everybody. So we take 36 different frequencies of light. We project each of those frequencies onto that color. We take an iso cloth, a standard piece of white cloth that's always the same. We apply the formula to it. We dry it. We put an optical scanner on top of it. And then we take a mathematical coordinate in space, 3 dimensions. And it's a mathematical formula they invented back in the 1930s called C-Lab. And it has 3 values. It has an L, an A, and a B. L is light to dark. Okay, A to B is green to red, and then, I'm sorry, A is green to red, and then B is yellow to blue. So those three numbers let us represent any color in color space. So what we did is we fed all that information into a neural network. We taught the neural network how to predict what the color would be for any one of our mixes. And then get this, here's the real magic, and this is part of her brilliance. She said, I want to put an application on a mobile phone where you can literally mix any combination of colors and it'll show the stylist what the color will be. So we broke the code, if you will. Yes, isn't that amazing? We created a mathematical solution using artificial intelligence technology to be able to predict what has never before been predictable by the human. So thank you, wonderful question.
Thank you so much.
You're
And I'm
welcome.
putting in the chat the language of Python as the what if question to
Yeah.
think about that. So students can think about the what if.
Yes.
That's
yes,
the foundation of Python
yes, fantastic.
and predictive language. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor. These are
All right.
really wonderful questions.
We have a student ambassador, Mr. Brown. Is Gabriel on? I know, Gabriel, you had one or two questions, so we wanted to get to that. And then team will wrap up and go to the mentoring. So Gabriel, if you're there, we're ready for your question.
The barber stuff cost though.
Great question, Gabriel. And his question was, in terms of cost, if you're a barber on the male side, how would that work?
Well, I mean, you know, it can be priced. Our pricing model is definitely in line with what traditional hair color companies are actually charging. But we all the technology, which is great. So, you know, it depends on, you know, how long your hair is. How long your hair, Gabriel?
Short.
Sure. So Gabriel, one of the things that that you'll, when you define Clicks, we're what you call a business to business company. And so we sell our platform, our hair color, to businesses. And what they do is they wrap the cost of our hair color into the cost of the service for the client. So the client actually never really pays directly for our hair color. They pay for the service, and our hair color is used within that. We did something really special, though, just to kind of share on the pricing approach. And this kind of goes back to the other question on how we, you know, entered the market from a competitive standpoint. All of the other manufacturers sell on a per tube basis. That's about 1.5 ounces of color, and they'll sell it from, you know, $5 to $10 a tube, depending on the competitor and where they're positioned in the marketplace. What we decided to do was to break that model and to sell it by the gram. Now there are 28.34 grams in an ounce, right? And so if you've got a tube that's 1 ounce that you're going to pay, let's say $10 for, what we decided to do is we could charge just 18 cents for 1 gram. And if you only needed 2 grams, then you'd pay 36 cents and you were good to go. You didn't have to buy a whole tube. So we really decided to change the pricing strategy around dramatically so that salons would only have to buy what they need instead of having to buy these expensive tubes.
Great pricing model, by the way. Pay for what you weigh. Like you go to the yogurt shop, right? It's kind of like that. You know, you put your berries in there and you put all your yogurt in there, and then you go up there and it's $56 for yogurt.
Yep.
I've done that, not $56, but I think you all know what I'm talking about.
So we're really excited about that. And in fact, for the youngsters out there who may not know this, you know, there are lots of software packages that you can buy to run your businesses. And in the old way that businesses used to sell it was on these discs. And so you'd go to the store, you'd buy a box, it had a disc in it, you'd put it in the computer, download it, and you might spend $400 or $500 for a piece of software. And then all of the software companies moved to what they call a subscription model, where you just download the software on the internet, you pay a monthly fee, much, much smaller monthly fee, and it's much easier for you to consume and pay. So they went to a new pricing model, and Clicks is inventing that pricing model for the professional salon hair color, because everybody today has to buy those tubes in advance. With us, we can come in and say, dispense what you want by the gram and only pay for what you use. And so that's another innovation that helps our customers manage and control their cash more successfully.
Yeah, you have to like pay for the stuff and then borrow it.
No, so what happens is we put these cans of color, and I'll hold one up here real quick. So here's a can of color. This goes into the machine, and in fact, our machines hold 50 of these of the different color types. And so when a client comes in to get their hair serviced, a stylist will use our mobile app, and they'll design a color for that client. When they've designed it, they push a button which sends the formula to the dispenser. Then they'll walk over to the dispenser and they'll put a bowl in. They'll punch a couple of buttons on the dispenser, and the color literally gets dispensed. So they rotate the right canister into position above the bowl, and then a mechanical motor that's controlled by the computer pushes down, creates external pressure on this canister, and this canister is pressurized. And so I'm going to take the cap off here. And so the color comes out of that little tip you see there. And we had to invent that too, because if you think about it, we're doing fluidics. So we're literally measuring how fast that color is coming out of that tube into the bowl. And then the computer reads it and controls the actuator on top. It's called a feedback loop. So we can dispense exactly the right amount of color into the bowl. And then we electronically, the dispenser says, oh, I just dispensed those 2 grams of color, and I know that those are 18 cents a piece. So what it does is it sends an electronic message to the bank account that the salon owner has tied to the account that they've set up with us. And we just automatically debit that night that 36 cents or 2 grams at 18 cents a piece from that customer's account. And so they've even paid electronically, and they don't have to write checks.
I wonder if, you know, we've seen some of it. I wonder if there's any crossover of the technology that we actually seen that more of this being able to mix your coffee in a store, or when we were going to the movie theaters, being able to create 100 odd soda mixes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
So exactly. If there's any crossover of that technology with what you're doing.
Well, I think it's a really, really good analogy for people solving problems in other spaces that have similar characteristics, and coming up with exactly that, a solution where people can customize what they want, because really everybody has different tastes and desires. And so custom hair color, you know, custom makeup, custom sodas, exactly right. More choice to the consumer, and using automation and technology to make it easier to deliver to them, easier for them to create those custom solutions themselves. And in our case, even to make it easier for the product to make its way all the way to the point where the customer will buy it. And in fact, I'll touch on that just briefly. What we did is we put a unique barcode on every single can. And when it goes into the dispenser, we read it and we track how much gets dispensed, and we know what color it is. And so what we can do is we can literally send an electronic message back to the place where all the inventory is and say, please ship another one of these cans to the salon. And so the inventory is completely automated as well. So not only are we giving custom choice to the customer, right, as supplied by the stylist in the salon, but we're solving the acquisition, right, the purchasing problem for them, and just completely automating that too.
Well, this has been fantastic. And boys and girls, parents, and of course, moms on Mother's Day. I'm going to turn it over real quick to our student ambassador, and then she will take us to the mentors. But Charles, Leilani, Click team, what a presentation. I think all of us all of us have gone away inspired. So over to you, Moria.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate the opportunity to present today.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. So now let's go to mentoring.
And on your screen, you're going to see breakout rooms. If you're in elementary school, click elementary. If you're in middle, click middle. And if you're in high school, click the high school room. And then Christine, you have the high school students. Lori Campbell, Miss Campbell, Mr. Thomas, and Mr. Carrington, you have the middle school students. And Doc, you have the elementary school students. So we'll see everyone in the breakout. Ray, send us there.
Breakout rooms are open. Like Matt just said, at the bottom of your screen, you should see breakout rooms. And what you're going to want to do is hover over the room assignment. So if elementary school, if you hover over, you should see a button that says join, middle school, high school. That goes for mentors and students. So head over to the room and click join. I will send a message when it's 10 minutes left. We're going to try to bring everybody back about 1:30. And if you're still in the room, in this main room with me and having trouble, just let me know which room you want to go to and I can try to manually move you myself.
I'm actually trying to switch to my computer, so I'm going to log out and log back in.
All right. And Kenny, you're a mentor, right?
Correct.
All right. So when you come back in, just give me a holler and I'll get you. Which room are you going to?
High school.
Okay. Just let me know when you come back.
Yeah.
This is Justin McCurdy. Put me in high school, please.
Yes, sir. 1 second.
This is Mahalia Thompson. Can you put me in the high school room, please?
You got it.
This is Ahava Evans. I need to be in the middle school section.
You got it, Miss Evans.
Hey, Ray. It's
Yes,
Bruce
sir.
Crawford. Yeah, I'm gonna drop off here. I got grandpa duty this morning. The grandbaby just came. I think you guys are aware of that. But this was amazing. It was. I really liked the way they were weaving in these messages. That we all need to hear. So I was writing as fast as I possibly could here. This was really good.
Yeah, this was a good pick. This was a good session.
Yeah, great session. So look forward to the next one.
All right, Grandpa. I'll see you soon.
Hey, and get a new team. All right?
I'm working on it. I'm pulling my Bear stuff out.
Yeah, I figured you'd be running out grabbing. The jerseys are probably already on sale.
Getting my Justin Fields jersey. Yeah.
Yeah, you're already getting Justin Fields jerseys. Yeah, I got it. All right. Have a great weekend, my friend.
You as well.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.